All right, so we got another one that we are taking f of x divided by d of x, express the result in polynomial form. Remember, polynomial equals the answer we got times what we were dividing by plus or minus the remainder, whatever happens to be. All right, so we are taking the f of x, and dividing it by the d of x. So there's my d of x there. That's my divisor outside, my dividend in there. And then remember, we go from x cubed to x. It's x cubed minus 11x. There's no squared, so we actually have to put a placeholder in there for that, for 0x squared. And all we're going to do is the same process every single time. 4x squared, this first term, how many times does it go into this first term here? Well, 4x squared into 4x to the fourth is x squared. It goes in the x squared column. We are going to, oopsies, multiply, I went green, there we go. Again, you are going to multiply every single term in here, right, by this. So, and when you multiply this, you're actually putting things like where they need to be, right? So x squared times 4x squared is indeed 4x to the fourth. I'm pressing the wrong buttons. You guys can't see it, but I've got all kinds of buttons going on. All right, so we do 4x to the fourth here, right? When we do x squared times an x, it is x cubed. So plus x cubed. And then we do x squared times the 4, we get a nice 4x squared. You are subtracting that whole polynomial there. Your first two terms are actually going to cancel out, 4x to the fourth and x cubed. When you subtract their respective terms, then it's gone. So now we've got a 0x squared minus a 4x squared gives me a negative 4x squared. You bring down one term. You bring down one term, right? I still am not very good with making those hyphenated dash lines with this. All right, minus 11x. And then you actually do need to bring down another term, and the reason being, when you look at this is a trinomial, so you're always going to need to divide it into a trinomial, so you need to bring down your minus 9, okay? Because ultimately what ends up happening is if we didn't bring it down now, well, I'll show you what happens in a second. All right, so let's go, we used to have a purple. Why don't we have a purple anymore? That's just craziness. Oh, custom color palette. I feel bad for you guys. Sometimes I just randomly, there we go, I like that one. All right, there's my purple. Sometimes I just randomly go off on a tangent. Sorry. So then we are asking ourselves, 4x squared, oh, that's not the right color. That's why there was no purple. There's the purple. Goes into this term here. How many times? Well, you just need a minus 1. Minus 1 is a constant, so you're actually putting it over here on top of the constant. And then you are repeating the process of taking this negative 1 and multiplying it by every single term. So you're going to multiply it by all three terms. And when you do that, you get a negative 4x squared, right? Because negative 1 times a negative 4x squared. You do a negative 1 times an x, you get a negative 1x. You do a negative 1 times a 4, you get a negative 4. You are going to subtract that whole polynomial again, right? So negative minus a negative is a positive, right? So that's going to be negative 4 plus, I'm sorry, negative minus a negative, yeah. Subtracting a negative makes it a positive, so these cancel out. Sorry, guys. Negative 11 minus a negative 1 is negative 11 plus 1, so you get a negative 10x. And negative 9 minus a negative 4 is negative 9 plus 4, so you get a minus 5 there. So that's actually your remainder. And remember when you are, and see, here's the thing, like if we hadn't brought down, let me get my pointer. If we hadn't brought down this minus 9 down here, ultimately what would have ended up happening is we have this negative 4 here from when we took our negative 1 and multiplied it to the 3 terms in our polynomial. And so what you would have ended up with was you have a -4 here, but there would have been nothing here for you to subtract. So you really just would have done -9. You would have ended up bringing it down at that point anyway, or not necessarily bringing it down, but -9 minus a -4. That's the only thing that you can do with that. So then here is your actual answer, x squared minus 1. Here is your, it's called the quotient, right? When we take two numbers and we divide them, we get a quotient. And then, or two polynomials at this point. And then we got a remainder. So let me make this smaller, right? Because we want it, oh nice, we want it written in polynomial form. So hopefully I can fit all of this on one, on one line. So you write your polynomial, 4x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 11x minus 9. That equals, we had our, and I'll try to color code it this time, I don't think I did it the last time. We had our quotient, x squared minus 1, times what we were dividing by, and we were dividing by this right here, so times this 4x squared plus x plus 4, right? And then you are just gonna, you can write plus, if you would like to, plus your negative 10x minus 5. You can also just write minus 10x minus 5, okay? But remember, it's polynomial equals our quotient, so what we got as our answer, times what we were dividing by, equal plus the remainder, sorry. Okay? Sorry for the rambling. It happens sometimes.